Hi everybody and welcome back to the ADHD Eavesdrop, where you can be a butterfly on the wall and listen in on my conversations. Today I'm so excited. I have my daughter and a new guest that we've never had on before, and that is my daughter-in-law Bailey, and we're going to be talking about the upcoming nuptials of my daughter with her future husband Jack, which you guys have met a few times on our show already. So we're going to cover things about how hard it is to have ADHD and try to plan a wedding, how helpful it is to have a sister-in-law who doesn't have ADHD and does have OCD when it comes to planning a wedding. And we're really just going to kind of talk about the struggles, the ups, the downs, the ebbs, the flows, the crying, the laughing, all of those things. So if you find that kind of stuff interesting, sit at the table next to us and eavesdrop on this conversation. It's so good to have you back, Savannah, especially to talk about something that is so exciting in our family, to talk about the wedding and wedding planning as an ADHDer.
Oh, God. Like 2.5 weeks away, so...
It's exciting.
Yeah.
So our other guest that we brought on, and I've been loving the idea of having her on, I think I talked about one of my previous podcasts, a couple of them, that I was looking forward to bringing her on. So here she is, Bailey Van Stee, my daughter-in-law, married to Nate, my son. And Bailey, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I work for the University of Michigan Health Plan, formerly known as Sparrow, as an IT operations analyst. I am also married to Nate Van Stee, as she previously mentioned, and we have our son, Killian J, and yeah.
Yeah. Aside from Bailey being my daughter-in-law, she's the only person in our family who doesn't have ADHD. And the reason I wanted Bailey to come on today was because I wanted her to talk about the process of helping Savannah with ADHD plan this wedding. Well, Bailey also has OCD, which is just a fun mix because Savannah also has OCD, and I just thought
in a very different way.
In a very different way. And I just thought it'd be a great conversation to just kind of run through it.
Yes.
Let's start with when you realized this wedding was really going to happen. Because you were engaged for a really long time.
We were engaged for 4 years.
Yeah, and you live together, and you've been together for
11.
So, Bailey, at what point did you realize I've got my work cut out for me?
I think it had to do with her coming, I don't know, she literally showed up and said, hey, we gotta do wedding stuff. And I said, okay, yeah, we can start wedding stuff. Let's make a plan. There's a book that I have. It's amazing. It's a great book. And it's just a wedding planner that I got on Amazon for like $23. No, they're not sponsoring me, but it's amazing. And I started going through this list of things. And she's like, we need that? I'm like, I mean, I guess you don't need it. But normally they do that. So I had lists and I was making lists. And she's like, I don't know how to organize this. Well, we can make a list. And then after you make that list, then you can cut that list down and go to a different list. And she's like, more than one list. And I said, yes, you're going to have multiple lists through this.
And at which point she got big eyes and panicked.
Yeah. It's been a process. It's been a process and a half.
But maybe we should talk about the fact that Bailey is not only not ADHD, but extremely talented. When it comes to organizing events.
Yes.
So you had an event organizer's brain in your house.
Yes. Thankfully.
And I know,
Aren't I lucky?
Yes, you are lucky, because I know that my wedding never would have happened without my neurotypical sister. She was my Bailey to you.
Yes. Bailey has done lots of things for me.
I think Savannah sees the big picture of what she wants for her wedding.
Which is really common with people with ADHD, to see the big picture.
Yeah, and she sees oh, this is what I want. She has this vision. But when it comes to breaking it down, it's too much. Because she sees it as a whole. Whereas, and I think that we did a good job at it the other night, where I see it as, okay, there's this station over here, what do we need for it? We have this station here, what do we need for it? We have the, so like, we have the ceremony, right? What do we need for that? Let's put it all together. All right, you need the rugs. Okay, cool. We need chairs. We need the confetti stand. What do we need for the confetti stand? And then, like, everything in my brain says, here are the big things that we need for the ceremony. We have the oathing stone table, and then we have the confetti stand. Okay, cool. Those are really two big things that are really pretty. All right, what do we need for the oathing stones? What do we need for the confetti stand? Like, it's not just this is idea as much as it is we break down every piece and every detail, which we did the other night, and I think that made you feel a little bit better about where we were at.
Yes, it absolutely did.
Well, and what you're explaining right now is so typically ADHD as far as how seeing the big picture, first of all, overwhelms us to no end.
Yes.
And being able to break it down and having somebody help you break it down is the only way to attack a project like that.
Right.
Yes.
So, needless to say, as they got into this whole process and as things started to happen, there were mishaps here and there. Like,
Still are.
yeah, still are a few mishaps here and there because we've got an ADHD brain that doesn't always communicate well with, a neurotypical brain. But we've got an OCD brain, so really it's not a neurotypical brain that is running the show. We've got all this going on, and I get a phone call from Bailey one day, and she says, "Can you get on your computer and can we go through the wedding guest list?" So we get into the list. So we have a shared document. I'm at home, she's at her house, and we're looking at this list of people that seems to be just a random list of people.
Yeah,
and we're
it
trying to
is.
figure out who we're inviting from what families, and we had to categorize everything, and we didn't know who everybody was. We were trying to make sure we had the addresses for everything, and we opened this list, and it's just this random list of names.
It was anywhere from, you could have had a great grandma next to a college friend, and they didn't know each other. They didn't even know each other existed. And
We're like, who are these people?
we're going through this list, and there are some names legitimately that it was like, oh, Carolyn Moffat. Okay,
We know who that is.
I know who that
That's
is.
Grandma.
But when it's surrounded by Shakrani or Joel, I'm like, I'm sorry, is this the right Carolyn? Is there another one? Do we have two?
Right, exactly. And it was just the epitome of how the approach was so different from one to the other. And it wasn't you who put that list together. It was Jack, right?
I think they did it together.
Or
We did it together, yeah.
And I think it was, they were just like, okay, yes, we want this person. And
Rapid
they're going
fire.
through their head.
Right.
Yes.
Boom, boom, boom.
And I
But
never
never
organized
organized
it.
And so
I didn't realize I had to.
Well, I mean, it's your list. I mean, I guess.
I know, but it's one of those things that I literally just never thought about until somebody told me that my
Till I
list
said,
was
"This is whack."
insane. Yes.
it took us
because
a while to fix that list.
Well, and
so
for
sorry.
like background a little bit is like our wedding, not comparing because that's not correct, but like when we did it, granted Nate's wife or fiance at the time took care of it, was we did, okay, the people standing up in the wedding are VIPs. Awesome. That made sense. And then we went to Nate's family. And then we went to my family. And then we went to our friends. And it was all grouped. But I also had, which is a different thing, I had a different reasoning for doing it. Would I have done it the same way? Probably, because that's how my brain works. I did it that way because when we got to a seating chart, I could split it up based on family and put people with who they knew.
Right.
It was very easy to be like, oh, this is my family, cool. There's X amount of people, and there's 8 people to a table, so we'll split it up that way. We're already pretty close, but not entirely there.
Which I suppose might work for your brain, Savannah.
I don't know.
And we needed it for the girls for the shower,
Yes.
the bridal shower.
That's what we were trying to figure out.
Yes.
Is who to invite to the bridal shower. Who
And I
was
was
family?
like,
who
who
was
is who?
friends?
Yes,
right?
I do remember
'Cause
Bailey.
we took on the gals from Savannah's side, and then we took on the friends too, where Lori took on.
Yeah, so we were
Jack's
trying to
family.
figure that out, and yeah, so we opened the list, and we're both like, and I have ADHD, but I have pretty good skills that I've developed throughout my life.
Especially in Excel.
Yeah, you're an Excel queen.
You're in Excel and you love it.
I love
for
Excel.
that.
I live for Excel. I love a good spreadsheet and a good chart and a good graphic organizer. Yes. I love all those things because those are my coping mechanisms, right?
Yeah.
That's how I have worked with my ADHD. And so in this whole process, Savannah, I don't think you could have pulled this off by yourself.
I absolutely could not have. I absolutely could not have. I've said it 1,000 times, I'll say it again. I would not be having the wedding I am having without Bailey.
So what were the major roadblocks that you felt like you were running into?
I just didn't know what I had to do next. And I still can't think of the next step that I have to do, and I'm always worried that I'm forgetting something or doing something weird or not, or the ceremony's too long. How do I know how long the ceremony is supposed to be?
As long as you want it to be.
It's supposed to be what it's supposed to be. I mean, mine was, I think like 16 minutes, 20 minutes.
Something like that. Mine was 27 minutes.
Yeah,
but I told my minister, I said, if you go over a half an hour, you're fired. Even though he's already retired, he came out of retirement to do our wedding. But
yeah.
I was like, if we hit 30 minutes, just cut it off, right?
Well,
there.
I mean,
just we're done.
I feel like, and I could be wrong here. I feel like the first hardest part was starting. You didn't know where to start.
Yes.
That was probably where the most frazzled part of you I have seen in this process was, where do I start?
Yeah, oh God, and not to forget that we had a venue and then we didn't.
Right, yeah. Well, you had a venue, loosely.
We thought we had a venue.
And then, yeah, everything happened with that. That's true. But I think the second part of it is, and I know that I did this without shame, and I know that you struggle with it. I didn't do anything thinking of anyone else when it came to my wedding. I said, no, I do this one time, I'm not doing it again, and I want to do it this way. And, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Mama had opinions, my mom had opinions. I'm sure dad had opinions about some things. And I was like, no, but this is what I want. Like, Dad would dance with me.
Yeah.
You know, like that was something. You had the opinion on how much we were spending on our venue when we could have saved the money for something else.
No, I thought it was a great venue.
You did think it was great.
And it was a great place.
No, yes, I agree. But at the beginning, when we're like, yeah, this place was X amount of dollars, Nate said that there was concern about, like, you could have taken the money and saved it and done
sticker shock.
Yeah, right. So, there were
honestly,
concerns at one point about anything. I'm sure someone said that my officiant's dress was too short. All right. Cool.
Right.
So overall, the reason we wanted to do this podcast was because we wanted to do the podcast after the wedding to talk about all of the things that went perfectly perfect in every way, and laugh at some of the things that weren't so great. Also because all of it will be funny in the long run.
Yes.
As long as you're married at the end.
Yes.
Yes. Aside from the stress and all of the crap that goes along with wedding planning, you found yourself an actual florist who has been helping with planning as well. And so I kind of want to point out the importance of, when you have ADHD and you know you have ADHD, knowing when to seek help.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, and that reminds me of a time, I don't know if I should talk about that, with the groomsmen, and I felt like people weren't taking it seriously. And
we actually talked about it on the last one that we did.
Yeah, I think so. So there was a time when I was very stressed out because it felt like people were not taking the wedding super seriously. And I was having feelings about it, and I needed to say something.
Big feelings.
Big feelings, and I needed to say something, and I needed to find out if people were really in it. And I was so upset, and I couldn't write the text message myself, so I asked Bailey for help. And it was just a good representation of asking for help when you need it.
And also having somebody advocate for your feelings, because, like, sometimes you may think, oh, like, I'm being irrational. Like, there's no way that I'm actually feeling this. This is not normal.
Yes.
And when you have that person who goes, no, like, I think you should say something, then it's like, okay, if you think so, I probably
Well, it's
should.
just a part of, like, setting boundaries. You can love your friends and they can still do things that...
Upset you.
Yeah.
And hurt your feelings.
Yes. I was going to use different words.
Correct. But just like that text message, I got you.
Exactly. No, and I needed that. It was good to have you in that situation. It's been good to have you in every situation.
Along with being able to ask for help, you also were able to say, I need this florist who can help me do all these other things too. And Bailey said, this person's a great person to do this for you. And so she helped hook you up with another source of help.
Yes.
So that you wouldn't have to do everything on your own.
Using my tools, using my resources.
Using your tools, using your resources, which led to a mishap at one point because we had the 2 invitations, but we figured that out.
Oh, yes.
So we had 2 invitations and they were supposed to go together in the same place, but then we realized at the last minute they couldn't. And so we had to send out 2 separate ones. But that's pretty par for the course for us.
Yes.
But also looking at that, I think that, like, looking back, I don't think I would have wanted them to go together. Because they were different vibes and gave different information.
Yeah, well...
Separately, I think it was perfect. And it was like, you're getting this wedding invite, because the wedding invites went out first.
Yes.
And it was, cool, you're invited to this wedding.
And the other wasn't really an invitation, it was a packet of information.
It was.
It's an information packet that my florist made because she's incredible.
Oh my god, it was so beautiful too.
Yes.
And then when that hit their doorstep, it's like, oh my gosh, it kind of gives you a feel for what the wedding's gonna be. And like, I don't know, really...
I think it turned out really perfect.
I would not have changed it. Yeah.
Oh, did you send one to Aunt Mickey?
Not yet. I haven't had time.
So I'm just going to bring you in the loop. Aunt Mickey's never got there.
None of her stuff?
Her packet.
The information packet.
The information packet. And so we were going to send her another one, and I'm just trying to help her remember to do that.
I will do it.
Does it have to go to her? Can it go to Grandma's? And she can get it from Grandma?
Well, I mean, you could just give me one and I could give it to her this weekend. But we'd have to get it from each other.
Yeah,
I'm going to see you on Friday. I'm going to drop my son off.
Oh, yeah. If you just drop one off to me, then that'll work.
Perfect.
You don't have to do nothing, see?
Check that one off the list.
Did we get that taped? We did. We got that recorded. So this is how we do it. This is exactly how we do it. We figure it out, but it takes Bailey's brain and
because I
our
just
creativity.
Forgot that I was coming over on Friday.
I forgot.
How did you forget that?
Because I knew Killian was coming.
By himself, he's driving the car.
But in my brain, I'm sorry, but in my brain, he's the one who mattered. I'm just gonna be honest.
That is the case in most situations.
Just as far as like, the guys come into my house.
And he's staying.
And he's staying for a week.
Minute. Yep.
A week and a couple days.
A week and a couple days. When his mama and daddy go to Greece.
Yes.
Boy, 2 weeks before
a week.
the wedding.
Yeah, we'll come back a week before the wedding.
Yeah. At this though.
Yes, I actually went over with Jack and Sam yesterday. I said, all right, we have X amount of stations. We have 17 stations. Those bins are going to be packed by the time I get home. I said...
It did feel like a command.
It was a command. I told Jack, I said, this is not a request. Like, I told him, I said, we're going to put it in your calendar, and you're going to get it done on that day. And I was like, I'm not trying to be a certain way, but like...
But so you said it kind of felt like a command, but do you feel like sometimes at this point you kind of need that?
Oh, I absolutely need the command. I need to be told exactly what I need to do and when to do it and how to do it and I should do this next and not this. Because I cannot prioritize and organize and taskify the things all on a piece of paper like you can. I don't know how you do it. I just, is not a skill that I've ever...
So, to be quite honest with you, I did not have this, and you're gonna laugh, I did not have the type of organization that I do now until college. I was never like that. I was always type A, 100%. Like, I always had to have things
But that's
organized.
when you started using it to your advantage.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because now I was in college and I was paying my way through, and I'm like...
Yeah.
I gotta make sure that I'm on top of it, and I was on top of it, and then it came from college to now like home stuff, like, and then it came to work stuff at work when I first worked at AO.
You know, that's so interesting that you say that, because my sister, who's neurotypical, does not have ADHD, said the same thing. She did not figure out how to do a lot of that stuff until she was an adult, until she was in college. But for her, it was because she'd been living with ADHD, mom and sister, and she thought that was the normal thing, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think like we lived a fairly busy life. Like, my sister had, well, I had band, my sister had band, I had soccer. My sister was in extracurriculars. Like, we were always all over the place, always on the run. And I think like, and it wasn't bad. Like, I loved that. I loved being like really busy all the time because I always had something to do. And I think now this is my something to do, is always making a list and being like, okay, like what needs to be done? What still needs to be done? Okay, by the time the end of my workday hits, I'm like, okay, what's left to do? Oh, okay, well, Kaylee's gonna make dinner. I gotta watch Killian. And then when Nate comes home, he's gonna take over Killian so I can do XYZ. Like, that's just how my brain takes it.
And
Fascinating, isn't it?
I could never.
Savannah and I, just so you guys know,
Wish I
we
could do
both
that.
are sitting here with our jaws hanging open and going, "Wow, that is so cool."
But I would say something that I thought about actually
Unattainable.
today on the way home, because I was like, okay, what are we going to talk about? I had anxiety about like doing this because I'm like, oh, I got to talk about how normal I am. Like, wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, well,
But
I never said you were normal.
no, normal enough. And I thought about how both of our brains work. How you guys wish that you could have, or you guys think, I think, I don't want to put words in your mouth, that you could do something like that.
Uh-huh.
But how insanely stressful it is on my side of it, and how I sometimes wish that I didn't have that responsibility. Like, you know, to me, it's a responsibility, right? If everybody in my life has ADHD, which they do, and everyone I live with has ADHD, which they do, I am that person that is like, okay, this is what needs to get done when. And if I fall off, then everyone else falls off, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like kind of that responsibility of like,
You're literally hurting cats.
Cats would be easier to herd.
But I don't know. I've seen you guys chase down your 4 cats
and
in
it didn't go
tornado.
well.
It did not go well.
Again, rephrasing, cats would be easier to herd. Yeah. But like, the want that you guys have is like the want that I would have for me to maybe have a relaxed evening and not worry about those things, right?
Oh, but we don't not worry about it.
No, you worry about worrying about it.
No, that's what
we
I
worry.
do.
Yeah, that's Savannah. We definitely worry about it.
I sit there and I want to get up and I want to do the things but I don't know what to do next, and that's always a big problem. And then also functioning, question mark, like getting up, doing things. My executive functioning could never.
Yeah.
It could. I just think it would have been.
Could.
I mean, like, I know that you could have put a wedding together.
I could have put a wedding together,
without
yes, but not
Bailey.
this wedding.
Maybe not this wedding, but you could have done it. I have no doubt about it. It's just that it would have taken you 4 times the mental energy.
Yes, exactly.
And that's exhausting.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I talked about it with Nate, and I was like, this is the emotional side, right? It's the expectation. I think, and Nate knows, I gave him an unrealistic expectation, and now this unrealistic expectation is his expectation of, I send out the birthday cards every month. I do work a lot. He works a lot. I figure out the calendar. I'm the person who's, you need to plan something, you need to talk to my wife because she's got the calendar down. She knows what's happening, right?
You know what's really scary? Is that was me in our family.
Yeah.
With the ADHD.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty much the highest functioning as far as that goes with the ADHD.
Well, and I'm sure.
So right now
yeah.
you are speaking my language
And I'm
because I
sure-
understand that feeling.
And I'm sure that, like, at that time, and even now maybe, because I know that you and I are really the ones who plan the holidays, that expectation is like, they hold you to this high standard. And you never want to let those people down, because the second that you don't do those things,
They
there's
figure out how
now
to do them
a
on their own.
glitch in the matrix. Not always. Not always.
Right.
And if you don't do
But
it, then who does it?
You can't tell me you didn't want to help with this wedding, though.
Oh no, 100%.
Okay.
Resume builder. Like,
it's like
no, 100%. And honestly,
but
like,
there are probably a lot of things, and you will have this when you're. I feel like it is by default the woman in the family who takes on.
You
a
guys
lot
are
of that
making me kind of
responsibility.
nervous right now. I'm not gonna lie.
well,
Well, but look at Jack.
yeah, but he's the calendar person.
He's the
Have you-
calendar
yeah,
person.
He'll be the calendar
I know.
person. And that's okay.
and that's fine. But there's
I think there's a lot of pressure to be that person as the woman in the family.
Yes.
And that's hard to do because my brain could not. But Jax can. And he likes doing it. And he likes to, well, I don't know about that actually. Poor guy. I don't know how much he loves managing all of the finances and the calendar and
Well, and that's the other thing. Nate does finances.
I do the laundry.
so does Jay.
I could never do it. I have had conversations of, Nate, if you leave, if something, like, not leave, if something bad happens to you,
Right.
I would be screwed. I don't know how to do any of it. And he goes, you'll have Dad. And I'm like, yeah, nothing like, Jay, can you help me figure out how to do this? Because your son's not
Well,
here
I
anymore.
guarantee you that if something happens to Dad, I'm going to be going, hey,
I know.
Yes. You always said that growing up, you thought the man of the house was supposed to cook
Yes.
because Grandpa always cooked. And I have grown up thinking that the man of the house does the finances. And I don't have to do the finances.
I
Yes.
did not grow up that way. I grew up that
fair
my
enough.
mom did it all,
could.
which
Right.
and honestly impressed. I could never. I think of how we have juggled Killian and everything else in our life, and I'm like, I don't know how my mom did it as a single mom with two girls who were very active in sports. She went to the sporting events. Like, there are times I can't even get to dinner without falling asleep. Like, I don't know how she did it, where, like, yeah, let's go out to a soccer game, like, then come back home and, like, hang out and, like, entertain. Like, I don't know how she did it. So I think that she has inspired me to take on a lot of it because she did it all. And I'm like, yeah, that's who I want to be. I want to be a person who can do it all. That's unrealistic. I don't know how she did it all.
So
I don't want to be that person. I'm just pretty good at it.
Well, I think I said this in our last podcast, but I have a friend who says I can do anything, but I can't do everything.
Yeah, I like to think that that's not. It's an impossible statement. I think I can do it.
I don't think you
I
can.
know I can't. That's like, part of, like, when she asked me to be her maid of honor, I was like, wow. Listen, I thought that I was, like, third choice. I'm like, yeah, I thought it would go Lita first, obviously, and then it would go Margaret, and then it would go me. And I was like, I'm okay with that. And then I was like, wait, me? You want me? And I was like, it's because of my brain.
Well, it's not the only reason.
But a big reason.
It helps.
It helps.
I have oftentimes heard Savannah say that you are her sister and that the in-law
Absolutely.
doesn't even equate.
I was just about to say that you are the closest thing I've ever had to a sister.
I don't know, Nate's kind of girly.
Can be, but not like you. You are the closest thing I've ever had to a sister, and you are a good sister, and you thank you.
Aside from the stress, I know we've talked about that a few times. What is your favorite part? What was your favorite part, I guess, so far about planning?
About planning?
Yeah. Just planning, and then we'll get to your favorite part that you're excited for the wedding.
Well, that one's easy.
Okay. marrying Jack is not one of it.
Well, yes, it is. That's kind of the whole point.
Fair enough.
I'm very excited to be married to my best friend. We've been planning this for so long. Not even a wedding. I mean, we've been together for 11 years, and we've been engaged for 4 years, and it's about freaking time that he put a ring on it.
So what is the most exciting? What have you enjoyed about planning the wedding?
I really have enjoyed the pictures and getting to have all of the pictures of like everybody from their wedding and for the memorial. The family tree is kind of one of my favorite things. I'm looking forward to the different ceremonies and cultural things that we're doing, like the quake and the oathing stones. And
So explain what those are.
so a quake is supposed to be, it's a Scottish tradition. It's a symbol of loyalty, love, and trust. It's a two-handed cup, so you can't be hiding anything when you're drinking from it. You have to have two hands. It's because people carried around swords all the time, which would be really awesome, but we don't do that anymore. Traditionally at weddings, it would be that either the bride and groom drink from the cup, or it would be the bride and groom and their parents, or in like actual tradition, it would be that everybody drank from the cup.
Ew.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we're not doing that. We're just gonna have us.
Coded back.
You know, times change, don't they?
We're used to sharing germs, so I think we're gonna be fine. The oathing stones, which is a Celtic ceremony, basically I'm going to have a basket full of rocks, and everybody is going to choose a rock at the beginning of the ceremony, or some people will bring their own, because we did offer that as an option. And I only offered that as an option because I had a friend who asked if she could, and I was like, sure.
Mary and I have picked ours out already.
That's fun. I like that. I love getting little rocks from people. Yes, perfect. So I tumbled a lot of freaking stones over the summer. We have like 170 now, and I still have some. Everyone will hold a stone during the ceremony and put all of their thoughts, energy, good vibes, whatever, into the stone, and then we will get the stones afterwards to keep and display and to be our friends. So that's one, and then we have the quake, and then there's a Polish shot tradition that we are doing. We are doing it where my in-laws, my mother and father-in-law, are going to present us and discuss the situation.
The situation. So it seems here you've been sleeping with this girl, son, and now it's time to make her an honest woman.
Oh my God.
Take a shot.
Take a shot.
So it's not just the shots. There is also bread, salted bread, which is supposed to represent that we will never be hungry. There is two shots. One is water, one is vodka. Whoever drinks the vodka is technically the person who wears the pants in the family, quote unquote.
So we're going to make sure you get the vodka.
That's the plan. We are trying to rig this in my favor here. But yeah, so we're doing a lot of cool little cultural things like that.
So this is like so typically ADHD in the fact that there's a lot of creativity that surrounds your wedding.
Oh yeah. It's just been a big DIY thrift project.
So you're having the wedding outside.
Yes.
In October.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't rain.
But we have a backup plan.
Yes. I hope I don't have to use it though.
But I do remember you saying that the best part of the wedding is that you'll be married to your best friend. So
Yes.
does it really matter if we do it inside or outside?
No, of course it doesn't.
But if there's like a light mist, I think we should still stay
that would be
outside.
lovely, actually. I would love that if it was just a little... I had a friend recently who told me that on her wedding day, right as soon as they were married, it started to rain. Just a little bit. And it rained for like 5 minutes and then it was done. And I was like, okay, yeah, that is allowed to happen. That is romantic and fun and lucky, as people say. It's not lucky when it pours. I'm worried about it pouring or being frigid.
Well, there's only 0.02% chance of it raining on your wedding day as of yesterday.
I know. I check every day.
What are the temperatures supposed to be?
68 is the last time I checked.
The low of 62.
That's not bad.
Not
That's
bad.
lovely. That's exactly what I wanted. Just a light
And the
chill.
evening's going to be
And it's
chilly.
supposed to be
Yeah,
cloudy.
which is good
It
because I got a lot of freaking blankets. And I told people to bring a sweater or to bring a blanket.
I think that after all of these lists that we have made, which we have made a lot of lists. Jack was scrolling yesterday to try and find something that I was looking for. And he's just scrolling, and there's list, like all the way down. And I was like, that was me. I asked them to do that.
Yeah. Technically, I made the Cheryl list and I made the Savannah to-do list, but only because you told me what to put on it.
Yes, right.
I typed it, and
I was like, this needs to go on Cheryl's list. And you're
Yes.
like, yes.
And
Right.
do you know, I had to go back to both of those lists and edit them because I kept forgetting to change tab to put things on my list versus on her
gosh.
list. So I had to go through both of those lists again and reorganize them. You'd be proud of me.
I would be proud of you. And then my brain would have said, if you would have told me that beforehand, I would have just been like, yeah, you can literally make a column in Word that says me and Cheryl, and you can have just gone back and forth.
Yeah, but that sounded like a lot of work. I wanted to do it the fast way.
Well,
Technically, it wasn't fast because I,
I was gonna
created
say
more
it would've
work
been
for myself
faster,
later.
right?
But that's kind of, it's been really nice to have wedding planning to do during the day and things like that. Anytime I have downtime at work, which is not often, but anytime, my cute little 15-minute breaks and my lunch break is spent wedding planning, and it's been really nice to have that to do. I'm honestly kind of worried about what I'm going to do when I don't have it. Color. I have a friend that just got engaged last weekend, and I got to see her for the first time today, and she showed me her ring, and I was like, okay, so you have to do this and you have to do this, and I would definitely recommend having a day of coordinator. And
So I have said for a long time that I think Bailey should be event coordinator.
I
or
agree.
a
I just
party
didn't think you would
planner.
want to.
I want to. It's just, it takes a lot of time.
It sure does.
It takes a lot of time. Anyways, you have all these lists, right?
Yes, my lists.
And
Categories have saved my life.
I think once you walk out of that castle and go to walk to Jack, you're gonna, well, don't forget to do this, but like take in what it looks like and know that you got there, not just because of me, because of yourself, of course, but because of lists.
Because of
Just so you
and
know.
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, because of all the lists that you had to do to get there.
Yes, yes. I wish that I could plan events like this on my own, but I don't think I could do it without you. It's been amazing to have you, and that is part of the reason I asked you to be my maid of honor, but it's not the only reason. You are also one of my best friends. You are my sister.
Yes, but you have a lot of best friends.
I'm sure. I'm allowed.
But they're not all her sister.
But none of them are my sister.
That's true.
I trust you more than I trust most people. That's saying
I
a
got
lot
that on
because
the books.
I got trust issues, especially
I got
with
'em
women
too.
who are my age.
I feel like deja vu. No, I appreciate it. It was a good honor to have. I told Nate, I was like, Nate, I made the cut.
Not
like,
only did you make the
I was
cut, you got the lead.
Well, second lead.
you
I got the understudy.
No, not the understudy.
Something bad.
no,
You know what I'm
yeah,
talking about.
The
I'm your right hand man.
There you go.
Has anyone seen Hamilton?
Yes.
There we go. Right
Yes.
hand man.
I saw it
yeah.
on Disney Plus.
Yes.
On that note, ladies, I think that we have jumped from one thing to the other in a tremendously ADHD fashion, with Bailey trying to herd us like cats.
Bring it back. On the ball, ladies. On the ball.
On the ball. So I just want to say thank you guys for sharing this with me, and I hope you'll come back after the wedding and we can talk about all of the good stuff and how well everything went.
Yes, I will be less stressed.
And
then.
laugh about the stuff that went wrong. Maybe, Janine, I have a plan.
Okay.
Okay? I'm hoping that the cake topper does not make it to the cake. And I told her, if I open this box and there's a cake topper, I'm just going to turn around and walk away because I'm not responsible.
For those of you who don't know us, both my wedding cake and Bailey's wedding cake ended up having their cake toppers
topless.
disappearing.
Ended up topless.
It was a topless cake. It was all right. So thank you again, you guys, and we will see you back here in a few weeks, and we'll have a Mrs. Keeson
Yes.
and 2 Mrs. Van Stees.
Thanks for having us. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for including my
Neurotypical
neurotypical brain.
Absolutely. Everybody has a voice on this show.
I love herding cats.
Meow.
So ladies, I use that term loosely. If our butterflies on the wall enjoy what they heard and want to hear more, what should they do?
Smash that like button.
Subscribe to the channel.
Yes, ma'am. All right. And we will see you next time.